A YouTube short was just shown on my YouTube video feed that I think traffics in some untruths about the ultra running sport, and so deserves a reaction. This is Runner Reacts from Runner and Son. Let's watch.
This sport looks badass, and don't get me wrong, it is.
This is me not disagreeing.
But what we don't always see is how much access, money, time, and support it takes just to show up at the starting line.
Still really not disagreeing at this point.
Let's do the math. Entry fee could be $200, easy.
Could be $200, could be a lot more. I just entered into the Kettle 100 and that was well over $300. On the other side, I entered my son and I into the NK 50K for about $20 a piece. So you'll see there's a theme going on here in this video. Choices are important, and you don't always have to choose diamond or gold. The other thing that I wanted to point out is some races allow you to do something called a charity bib, where you raise money for one of their charities or one of your own charities, and if you raise enough, you get a free entry into their race. The other thing you can do is have a charity run with friends, and they sponsor you for a certain amount of miles. That can help with your entry too. Something else you can do is volunteer at races. A lot of races, if you volunteer 1 year, they'll give you a discount or even a free entry if you volunteer a couple years in a row.
Travel and lodging, add a few hundred more.
So this is assuming that you need travel and lodging for your race. I've raced a dozen ultras, I only once needed lodging, and we drove to it. So once again, we're seeing that theme about choices come through. I took a look at running in the USA. So in the state of Wisconsin, in 1 month, in June, there are 14 trail races. Choices.
Gear? Don't even get me started.
All right, so we got to talk about gear a little bit. This drives me crazy. I have with me here my first hydration vest that I bought for $20. I wore it for 2 years. My son now wears it. My first pair of trail running shoes, $40. I looked them up today, can find them on eBay, brand new, slightly over $40. Trail running vest, also still $20 on Amazon. Listen, this sport is not expensive to get into. Once again, we're seeing that theme of choices. I'm sensing a pattern. So once you start to progress, once you start to level up, that's when you start getting some gear. That's when you start saying, hey, I really want to go to the next level on this stuff. But starting out, beginning, it's not expensive.
And that's not even counting time off work, childcare, or, having the kind of job that lets you take time off.
Okay, so there's some truth here for sure. Having a job that allows you to take off, childcare, things like that, these are real challenges, absolutely. I have 3 kids. They used to be 3 little kids. I know how difficult that was to get away from sometimes. Those responsibilities are real, and they make it hard to do a sport like this. But they make it hard to do anything that would require time off or dedication, whether it's playing the piano or bowling or cycling or ultra running, not specific to this sport at all.
We celebrate grit, but we don't always talk about who gets to train for 20 hours a week.
Who gets to train for 20 hours a week? I'll tell you who. Professionals. Professional ultra runners get to train for 20 hours a week. The rest of us don't have to. If you want to run a 100K or a 100 miler, the minimum in the last 6 weeks is about 9 hours a week, 10 hours a week, something like that. It's not 20. Unless you are going for the podium, unless you are sponsored, unless you are making this a career.
Who can afford coaching, massage guns, recovery boots?
Once again, I love ultra running. I plan my year around it. Don't have a coach. Don't have a massage gun. Don't have compression boots. You don't need these things. They're great if you want to really up your game, advance your ultra running.
Or even healthy food.
We need to pause and talk about food. This is a huge lie that is pervasive in our society, that it is cheaper to eat ultra-processed, unhealthy food than good, solid, single ingredient foods. I'm going to show you is putting together a basket of ultra processed foods that you might consider for a family dinner or something like that, if you can call it that. I'm not trying to be hard on people. I was very overweight at one point, still something I work on. So please, I'm not saying this in a derogatory way. We are going to have a basket with Takis and pizza and Diet Coke and ice cream. And what is that going to come to? That's going to come to almost $18. All right, now we're going to put together a basket of food that you can make all sorts of different recipes with just solid whole foods. We're going to have eggs and milk and pork and fruit and vegetables. We're going to have carrots, onions. We're going to have potatoes. We're going to have rice. We're going to have a huge shopping cart full of food. And let's take a look at what that comes to in price and compare what you're getting, quantity of food, quantity of calories, quality of food, quality of calories. I'm sorry, but this has to stop. This is a lie.
Trail and ultra culture love to call the mountains a place for everyone. But if the barriers to entry are this high, is that really true? This sport isn't just hard because of the miles. It's hard because access is gatekept.
What can I say? The trail and ultra communities are incredible. They really are. They are inclusive, they are friendly, they're the give the shirt off their backs kind of people that you just love to find. And this idea, this word, gate kept, did you see that? What does that word mean? Let's take a little bit of a look at what that word actually means. What it implies is that someone is intentionally keeping people out. This is just once again fundamentally untrue. In 6 weeks, I'm going to enter a race put on by a local chiropractor, and the fee is $17. If that's gatekeeping, the gatekeepers are doing a really bad job.
And until we stop pretending otherwise, we're not celebrating grit. We're just celebrating who can afford to suffer recreationally.
I have to make a note about this because I actually am not into ultra running because of suffering. There are some people that just get into the suffer. I'm actually out there to have a good time. So, just a note to people who might be looking at getting into this sport, you don't have to suffer.
So yeah, keep grinding, keep climbing, but don't forget to look around and ask, who's missing from this trail? And what are you actually doing about it?
So that's a good question at the end. Who's missing from the trail and what are we doing about it? What are we doing to bring them in? I'm not being facetious here. I'm not being sarcastic. What are we doing? So once again, I go back to that ultra running community, which I think is great at pulling in new people. I would encourage friends, relatives, neighbors to get off the couch, put down the cigarette, put down the alcohol, put down the processed food, and move and have some action in their lives. Have some body movement, have strength training, feel good. It's up to us to encourage people to get out there and enjoy that. So, who are we bringing onto the trail? Everybody we can, because it is a healthy way of life and is one that is worth spreading.